I mentioned my Uncle Jim. When we were young growing up, he was a fully grown man. And we used to get a bit laugh at him now and again because we didn't understand back then what these guys had been through. He'd just come out of the war. And I've got a picture of him in North Africa, one of Monty's men, one of the Desert Rats. Prior to that, he was at Dunkirk. Now, you see some of the cinema stuff about Dunkirk and all that, about how all the little rescue boats went out and brought all these guys back, and that was an absolutely amazing feat back then. It was absolutely amazing when you think, because they brought hundreds of thousands of them back who would have been killed. And these young men lived that. And this is the thing that gets me. We can't begin to imagine what they went through and the trauma they lived in minute by minute till they eventually got home. They hardly got back and got their socks dried off, and he was shipped straight out to North Africa as one of the Desert Rats. So we used to get a bit of laugh at him back in the village when the war and everything was finished, but we were just young kids. And it's because we didn't understand what was going on in his head. These days we do. We know all about post-traumatic stress, shell shock, all of this sort of thing. Back then, we didn't. And it's sad, really, because I've missed the opportunity to sit with him and say to me, tell me what happened. In your own words, tell me what happened. And unfortunately, that's gone. It's gone forever, which is a bit sad. Having said that, I think about him quite regularly. He was a lovely fella. I've actually got all these war medals. He gave them to me long before he died. He says, I want you to have them. And I actually went in the army. I joined, I wasn't conscripted for the war. The war had finished for them. So I understand better now what he lived. And we had a village full of guys like that. We used to think there were strange characters that would sit and drink in the pub or the club, and they didn't have a lot of conversation, and some of them you were quite frightened of. But as young guys, we didn't understand what they were living. Now we do. And terrifying it must have been.